So this is the peloponnesian war. So after we meet again, now we're gonna put on some more music for you to hear what it starts when the music. Ancient Athens war. The philosophy. So we're gonna. Welcome. This is Johnny Nobise speaking. We're here for a history video and a history explanation point, right? We're here for you to listen on my speaking of my ancient philosophy. This is my first philosophy video that I haven't made before. Alright guys, let's turn down the video. Good night guys. We're here for a philosophy video. We're going to be speaking about the peloponnesian war philosophy and how it started by the ancient Greeks and the Athens. Now, what is the main cause of the peloponnesian war? Okay, the peloponnesian war is a name given to the long series of conflicts between Athens and Sparta that lasts from 431 to 404 BC. However, the more important reason for the war is Athenian control to the Theban League, the vast naval Athens that allowed it to domain in the Mediterranean Sea. So this is all fought back from 431 to 404 BC. Was millions and millions ago. But from my eyes, I thought it was the 1400s. But they fought 431 years until 404 years. 404 years ago. It was back in BC. That was a long time, guys. And remember, I love history. I love old-fashioned kind of times. I like those times back then because Johnny Nobise is all about the science and the history, you know. So I'm here to do a philosophy. Also, I can let you take a look at the documentaries sometimes, documentary videos. Right? And I like to listen to old-fashioned music and ancient music, right? So we're going to go back and I'll let you listen and hear and see what was happening back then on the documentary. Couldn't even find a video to watch, people, but that's alright. Now let's get back to the philosophy. Alright. So I'm thinking the position war was an ancient Greek. An ancient Greek that fought the Athens. Alright. Okay. The position war is an ancient Greek war fought by the Delian League, led by Athens against the Peloponnesian League, led by Sparta. Historians have traditionally divided the war into three phases. Okay, what was it? History.com. I wish I could watch a video so I can show you guys what's going on in that war. Alright. In the main source of the Peloponnesian War is the history by the Athenian author Thucydides. He is the great historian who celerity tries to be accurate, but the work must be read from caution, because in spite of himself, he has his authorities for the Heracrates and the Navigates and Antipathesis, Callian and Thermomemes. The modern scholars offer interpretations. The war that are different from Therasides. Other sources of observations and a couple of cometary species remarks and the stories of Herodotus and all Halitaricus references in Asloricides, Comedies, Xenoposis, Helibelacula, and Athenarian Constellation by the Amathus, student of Aristotle of Sagarea, books 12 through 13, of the Library of World History by Doristus and Circularly, and the lives of Torch from Shoriaria. The two last mentioned authors lived during the Roman Empire, but use older sources like Amaphus of Chine to outline 20-point courses. When Athens concluded the alliance with Caraba, modern Corfu, in 433 and started to besiege Patodioria in threatening the position of Coryto. Sparta, who also feared that Athens was becoming to be powerful, but tried to prevent war. Peace is possible, the Spartans said, when Athens would revoke measures against Sparta's ally Megaroria. The Latin leader Persides refused this because Sparta and Athens had once agreed the conflicts would be resolved. The Peloponnesian. If the Athenarians would yield to Sparta's request, they would in fact be accepting Sparta orders. This was unacceptable, and war broke out. Athens and its Italian League were attacked by Sparta and its peloponnesian League. Thus, Darius mentions that the Spartans did not just declare war, but they decided to declare war and ask for help in Passara note. 20, 20.2. Archidarian War, no longer version. The Sparta declared war. It announced that it wanted to liberate Greece from Athenian. 12 o'clock a.m. Our position, our pressurtion, and with some justification, because Athens had diverted the Dorian League, which had once been meant as a defense alliance against the Peloponnesian Empire into the Athenian Empire to achieve victory. Sparta had to force Athens into some kind of surrender, and on the other hand, Athens had to survive the attacks. Spartacus' strategy was to adamant and the countryside to the Spartans and concentrate on Athenians on the city itself, which could receive supplies from across the sea, as long as the long walls connected to the sea, to the city. It is port parasites, and as long as Athens ruled the waves, and as long as Athens was free to strike from the sea against Spartans, coastal areas, it could create tensions within Spartan alliance. In 431 to 430, the Spartan king Archinsidemus II invaded Artaria, the countryside of Athens, and laid waste large parts of it. The Athenian Storm Emporio related with attacks on the Spartan navy tanks. However, it soon became the apparent that Spartacus' strategy was too expensive. Worse was to become, because in 429, a terrible plague took away about the third of the Athenian citizens, including particles. At the same time, the Spartans laid siege to the Athenian ally uh, uh, Platae tax, which fell in 427. And there's the match helmet. Believing the Athens was about to collapse, the island of Elorperos of revolted in Atrasemenus invited Apacabia again. However, the Athenians were not defeated at all. They suppressed the revolt and at the same time embarking upon the more aggressive policy, even launching a small expedition to Subtlety in 425. The Athenian general Demosthenes in the statesman Clarence, who had earlier tripled the Athenian income and had saved Athens from bankruptcy, captured 292 Spartans on the island Peloponnesian, who takes the Athenians, who also built the fortress in Peleus. They could receive runaway slaves and harlots. This did great damage to the Spartan economy. For the Spartans invaded Apple is now impossible. The powers would be executed. So they attacked Athenian possession in the northern Aegean. The Spartans Greece provoked rebellions in the arena and captured the strategically important Athenian colony and Apollos takes the Athenian Spartans who could not save their town. As punished with exile and became this war historian. Then Calin and Persuade were killed in the action during a Athenian attempt to recover Apollos, and a treaty was signed, the Peace of Nicholas. 421, Athens had won the Archerdanian War. The Archerdanian War. They won. for the longer version. Next year's witness. So, next year's witness in a continuation of the war with accompanied means Athens and Sparta had concluded the Senate alliance, but at both sides they were Parthenians. Peloponnesians who wanted to resume the war. The Spartans didn't return Athens. The Spartans didn't return Apollonians. They were promised, and the Athenians related by keeping Saspalia and Padios. Now the Athenian Polisaurius appraised to launch a new policy that promised the collapse of the Peloponnesian League without much Athenian involvement. Following his advice, the Athenians joined the colonial with three democratic states and the Porus, Argos, Mantinea, and Elias. Athens now had friends and the Spartan backyard and had cut off the route between Sparta and his war and its northern allies called Corinth and the Thebes. The Spartans knew how to reply. If it attacked the Athenian allies, Athens would be forced to choose between either its Sparta alliance, which meant abiding its allies, or its treaty with three democracies and risking an open war with Sparta. And the Politor is as it turned out, Athens preferred the second upper narrative, and when Spartan king Acharis II marched to the north. What is this? What is this? Oh crap. That looks like Indian town. Indian town. Hatton. I supported the Democrats. In 418, a battle has fought the Mantinea, and the Spartan king Alaris defeated his enemies. How you gonna do toilet? As a result, the Sparta restored its passage, the accordion, quadruple alliance was dissolved, and democracy suffered a severe blow. The passage of the frustrated Athenians needed a boost, and at this point they made a fatal mistake for which they would pay for the loss of the empire. In 420, the satrap and of Lydina Pasustrates had revolted against the mentioned Archenemian king Starios. Darius at Northians, the great king representations assaults time. Syrians arrested the rebel to send him the Darius who had him executed. Pistorian's sons. Most Mongolians, however, continued the struggle and received help from Athens. Consequently, Darius, who ultimately sided with Sparta. The stored and quality. It's already noted above an Athenian navy wow, that's cool. So many gift shops. It had already shown itself in the far west in 427. The Athenians had allies in Styrian after Sparta and Athens had concluded a peace treaty in 421. The Athenians had their hands free and sent out a armada to conquer the island. Some, including the popular leader Hyperbolius, wanted even bigger things, like an attack on Courage. For the time being, however, the plan was to counter Starly only the commanders who Lam Acholius Nicus and Bray Diaz in 415. The explanation started. The explanation started 415 BC. Religious times. The first year of the Sturmation War. China was successful in the invaders than the defenders. The Athenians create a base on Catania and defeated the Sorians in battle, but they had not won the war yet. And the death of Laboratorius, who the recall of Alberades, who involved in the religious scandal and the illness of Nicons. Nicas created serious problems. Position War 431 BC. Here comes the ancient Greeks. Greek mythology. The peloponnesian war. Olympus. The chains of the Olympus. Atlantis. 447 BC. pally position war. I gotta tell that this is the pally position war. Okay. 431 BC. That's when they all started back in time. Ancient Greeks, the Peloponnesian War, 431 BC to right. Ascensions. Ascension.
Evriale glafteon chariton phalos, calikomon meledima semen kipris, adaganov lefaros pitho rodeisin en anthesin frepson. Evriale glafteon chariton phalos, calikomon meledima semen kipris, adaganov lefaros pitho rodeisin en anthesin frepson.
polyposition war. Ancient Greek warfare. The ancient warfare. The ancient Greek warfare. Back in those days, they were still fighting to protect their land. Of course, they were still fighting. They were still fighting to protect their land, to take back what is theirs. Spartans fighting during the Peloponnesian War. Way back in those millions of years ago, it was still the ancient warfare until now. Right now, it's the modern warfare. But millions and millions of, yet thousands of years ago, it was the ancient warfare. The ancient warfare. Ancient Greek warfare. Ancient Greek Spartan. And look at all the deaths. When I was making a video called Kratos, the Kratos Marathon. Remember the Kratos Marathon? It was like something like this. I tried to make a story of what happened. During the war. I made a story that looked just like this. That almost looked just like this. With lots of deaths, lots of horrors during the war. People dying. People ending up with a missing leg, a missing finger, a missing head, a missing arm, a missing nose. People can survive without 2 legs or 1 arm, or they just be dead. Either one. They'll just be dead or end up with a missing head or a missing arm. A slashed up body, a slashed up stomach, a slashed up head, slashed upside the head or something. End up with a huge wound on their leg or on their feet or even on their back, and they can still be alive, which that's horrifying because they could have died. Being in wars, it's not easy. It's hard. You have to fight hard. You have to fight in order to survive the war. Otherwise, you either be alive if you survive, or you will be dead. My friend, that's how wars start back in ancient warfare. So, thanks for listening to my philosophy. This is my first philosophy of Johnny Nobise. And I'll see you later. Bye-bye.